Hello and welcome along to this week's edition of the Clare Champion Sports Chat podcast. We start off this week by checking in with the Clare senior football manager Colm Collins. We now know the timelines for the resumption of GAA action. We're looking at the club on July 29th with the inter-county season back in October. Much debate about which should have come first, be it club or county. I spoke to Colin to get his thoughts on what he feels.
To be honest with you, Derek, I can see pluses and minuses for both. I suppose the fact, that there are so many players involved and clubs that it's probably, I don't have any issues. I don't have any issue. It's the decision is made and that is, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I think it's a good thing. It'll give a good lift to club football to have all their players with them every training session. So I think, it's fair enough.
Yeah, but like September 14th and October 11th, when the club is supposed to finish or whatever, like that bit of an overlap might be difficult enough to manage, isn't it?
Sure, we'll see. I think what's vital here is that you have complete cooperation and that everybody pulls together. And I think if they do, it'll be fine. The players will get plenty of football and plenty of training with their clubs and hopefully come back to us. There's a lot of things that haven't been finalised with this plan, so that, when it came out first, I felt there was more questions than answers in it. But, we've got to see what's coming first, when are the first games going to be, and so on. So we're waiting for clarification on that, really.
Yeah, I know there's talk of finishing off the league. Is that something you'll be in favour of?
Why not? I'm grand with that too. Yeah, absolutely. Be nice to get our two final games played. Yeah, to it.
Yeah, I suppose I kind of see that as maybe that you'll be getting those competitive games in before championship will start, because I think there's some mention of a knockout element.
Yeah, well, sure. Listen to me. As I said, Derek, a lot of this is pie in the sky because we don't know. There's so many unanswered questions that we have to wait and see when clarification comes through on all these things. But listen, it's as you and I know, this is the unprecedented kind of territory, and I think that what has to happen, and I think as long as everybody works together, we'll be fine.
Yeah, like I know we spoke a number of weeks ago when all this started first, and no one knew if you'd even have a game this year. So I suppose in that sense, anything you get at all is a bonus.
Listen, will you stop? You would have no idea how much you'd miss it until it's gone. And it's just great that now we're talking about playing games, and I wouldn't be splitting hairs about what happens. As long as we get games, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's probably the same. The players, I'd imagine, are giving the same kind of feedback, are they?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, absolutely. It's it's important to get. That's what they look forward to, and that's what so that it's great that they're going to be playing games, and it's something that we weren't so sure we were going to get a couple of months ago or 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, and like you've always been a major advocate of the open draw or the maybe getting rid of provincials and trying an open system. Like, in some ways, could this pandemic almost lead to the GA getting the opportunity to try that maybe it just might work?
To anybody else, it would seem like an ideal opportunity, but sometimes I think that eventually, I believe it'll eventually come, but it's been slow, been implemented, and the merits of it are I think that it's clear the merits of it,
Yeah.
But we'll see. As far as I know, they're going ahead with the original clause.
Yeah, but isn't it the ideal opportunity to try it though for 1 year?
Absolutely, 100%. Perfect opportunity. I suppose that the structure's now going to be important. I mean, I suppose that we've got a limited window to play all of these, so that it's important that we don't get into dig ourselves into a bigger hole. I mean, I think that I'd be in favour of knockout, or at the very least only 1 second chance. But I can't see this. I'd hate to see a situation where we'd dig ourselves into, as I said, a bigger hole by producing structures that require more games. That then we're able to fit in. As you said, towards the end of that, depending, as I said, we haven't got the fixtures yet, but towards the end of the club and the start of the championship, there could be an overlap. So it's important that we manage that well.
Yeah, would you like to see a situation whereby, for example, say in Clare, if a club team, for argument's sake, Kilmurray or Cratloe, whoever it would be, were out of the championship in the middle of August, third week of August, that they would then be allowed maybe to turn their attention to county? Like, that would be doing no harm to anyone.
No, I think so. I think that there's a couple of areas in this plan that have been kind of they don't make sense, and that's one of them. So that if a team was out of the club championship, does that mean that the county player sits in his hands for 4 weeks and waits until the date? So I think that these things have to be sorted out, those little kind of contradictions in the plan. But hopefully there'll be the common sense will prevail in that case anyway. I mean, the main thing is that, they've got a clear run now with the club, and that there's nobody, there's no one pulling at anybody, so the players can direct their full attention on the club.
Clare Senior Football Manager Colm Collins there. Sticking with the theme of football, we're turning this time to the Ladies Association because they're following a similar timeline to their men's counterparts. I spoke with Chairman David O'Brien to check in with how plans are going.
We had a 14s structure and 16 structures in place from the start of the year. So the 14 was meant to be a league basis to seed for championship, but now we've just made the league the championship.
Okay.
And the 16s was due to start before the COVID lockdown. So that's just going to run ahead as normal as it was previous to that. With the adults team, we're going to go adults, juniors, intermediate and seniors, the 3 championships hopefully to an Oscar. We have draws and stuff done up for them as well. Not draws, but we have dates down to clubs to see is every club going to enter a team, stuff like that. So that's what we did first and foremost. We set up the format, email to the clubs, are you participating in commitment of participation, say, for the championship 2020, say, due to the COVID, say. And like there's some clubs that have had 2 and 3 teams, they mightn't fill the 3 teams, or they might only fill 1 team. We don't know until we get back the feedback from the club.
Yeah.
So that's gone out, and we have until next Thursday for that. And then the adult championship is going to provisionally start around the 10th of August, the county final on the 20th of September.
Right, okay.
And so the 16s and 12s are going to run first, and the 14s will start in the middle of September, and then the minors, after all the adults secured up, how weather dependent and all that kind of stuff, and who's going to enter, we'll do something for them in the hopefully. And 10s and 8s, then we did a bit to schedule, but I think we're just going to cancel those. As in, if Kilmurray were to play a course, a bit of a challenge or something like that, if they agree to it, that's fine. But as an organised blitz from the county, we won't be sanctioning those this year, I'm afraid. So we're hoping to run with the club championship the 27th, for 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks before the county starts. But I don't know if that's going to be a run or not, but that's provisionally down, and there is provisionally an All-Ireland club as well, but I can't see that. I just can't see the time frame of it.
Yeah. And the county then?
That's October, the same as the men's time. That structure isn't we're having a council meeting next Thursday night to see what format it's going to take. There was a format agreed, I think last December we agreed it in the council meeting of the 4 groups of 3 for intermediate, or there's 1 group of 4, so we're stuck in it. So I don't know will that hold now or not. I think it probably will, because it could probably obscure the championship otherwise. It could be, you could get an awful lucky draw or an awful tough draw. It could be hard. It could be easier kind of do it in senior level. Knockout. But then again, if they go knockout for senior, I think they'll go knockout for intermediate. And so the biggest thing we're looking for is for clubs to come back to us as quick as they can regarding numbers and stuff like that, and their availability and what teams are going to field, basically. That's it.
Yeah, and you can't finalise formats obviously until you know all that information then. We can go with the 16s, the 14s, because they're kind of ratified anyway. They're okay. Well, obviously, at a level, you can.
At a level, all we can do is we'll finalise dates only, really, more than anything else, and groups, because everything else is in place, right? It was all kind of passed. So we wouldn't have been playing the first round of adults would actually be 2 weeks' time, I suppose. So 2 weeks' time, 2 rounds, we were getting 2 rounds in before the end of June, I think. And then the county started in July, so we weren't really getting the third and fourth rounds into the middle of August anyway, and the semi-finals would have been the end of August, early September, and the county final would have been the same time, kind of. Right. So we're not really much out of sync. Only we're kind of trying to fit the 4 rounds into that 6 or 7 weeks, as opposed to the four rounds into 8 or 10 weeks or 12 weeks.
Yeah. So going with that time frame, then you're not going to be caught with having to go midweek or anything like that.
At the moment, we're trying to play the Monday night. We're talking with Mary Louise and the Camogie as well for adult championship games and stuff like that. So we've kind of picked the Monday night, because the Magic's a bit like the men's championship are going to be on the weekend, so we're trying to get a feel on a Saturday and Sunday could be fairly tight, like, you know. So we said we leave it to the Monday. And obviously clubs can play on the Friday or Saturday, Sunday, no issue with that, because just the Monday is the kind of cut-off date.
That is Clare Ladies Football Chairman David O'Brien there. Finishing up this week with soccer, where of course the Clare season here, we now know will be resumed at some stage. Avenue and Newmarket will battle it out for that title. I spoke to former PRO chairman and a whole host of other roles as well, Jim Madden, to get his thoughts on what's to come.
Starting the soccer league in Clare is going to be difficult for the teams. The protocols, such as the appointment of COVID-19 officer, risk assessment, signage, water, toilet facilities, hand sanitation, these will all pose difficulties for the teams. The COVID officer is probably the most important one. He will have a lot of serious responsibilities, and we need the total cooperation of the players, management, etc. And as we all know, that isn't always the case. Clubs in Clare have given their preferences to restart, but no guidelines were issued to the league or by the league with regard to the restart, and there was no vote as in other leagues. As a result, players are a bit frustrated by the lack of guidance, and they are the people who pay the registration enabling the league to be run, and the lack of communication from the league doesn't help. There's probably a bit of pressure as well to decide the Premier League title. Avenue United lead Newmarket. Celtic were the holders by a point, but Newmarket have a game in hand. Now, both of those clubs, in my opinion, Derek, have the facilities to enable them to fulfil the protocols. They have changing rooms, they have gate entry, they have toilet facilities, they have running water, and they would also be bigger clubs with a number of people, so they should be able to appoint all the necessary people to adhere to the programmes.
Yeah, and there's obviously a financial element to this as well, because it's going to cost clubs money to implement all this. And I mean, has there been any indication that there might be some assistance coming from the FAI to help that, or from Munster FAI or anyone like that?
There hasn't. As we have seen, Derek, really, that the FAI itself, what would you call it, the three men running the FAI are under a bit of pressure from some of the backroom staff with regard to, or not the backroom staff, sorry, but the council, when there was that problem raised, the issues raised by Nixon Norton when he wrote to UEFA and FIFA about the memorandum of understanding with regard to the appointment of Roy Barrett, Gary Owens and Niall Quinn. It does appear, the feeling in junior soccer is that the FAI are more focused at the moment in getting the League of Ireland restarted, and how do they finance that? And it appears recently, in the last week, they had a problem getting any kind of support from council with regard to funding the restart of League of Ireland.
And I suppose from a local perspective, I know we mentioned that that it would be great, I suppose, to get the season finished. You don't want to have a season declared null and void if it can be avoided at all. But with the GA season going back into full swing, and you're going, you're talking about finishing out this year's league and then going straight into next year's. There's a lot of kind of little bits and pieces to be ironed out, isn't there?
There is indeed, and I this morning I was just thinking about what might be a way of doing it, because travel is also going to be an issue. No, it'll be an issue for every sport, both at Gaelic games and in soccer and rugby, because I think that travelling for teams is not that easy. I mean, there's carpooling and all of that, and under the social distancing, carpooling is probably not really ideal, is it? In the professional game, they're suggesting that players should travel on their own, so that would be a problem. One of the things that was maybe to have a local competition which would reduce the travel here in the area and have the 5 premier teams from the area, the general area, Newmarket, Celtic, Bridge United, Shannon Hibs, Shannon Town and Shannon Olympic. That might be feasible because 3 of those teams have good facilities. Newmarket have their dressing rooms and they have an enclosed pitch with a gate and all of that. Bridge United have the same, and so have Hibs. Now Shannon Town and Shannon Olympic would not be able, in my opinion, to fulfil a lot of the criteria because basically they don't have toilet facilities and they don't have water, and running water is an issue because of washing your hands and all of that.
Yeah, and I guess there'll be a lot of clubs in that same situation, so that could probably colour the decision whether they're going to want to finish out this season or maybe hold tough until, hopefully restrictions might be lifted a little bit more.
Yes, I mean it will. And the other problem that is facing the clubs, like the clubs I mentioned, at least all have their own facilities. But in Ennis, you look at it, a lot of the clubs up there depend on Lees Road. And as the local authority seems to be very slow to lift a lot of their restrictions. I mean, here in Shannon, for instance, the playground is still closed, and that to me would be very important to get the playground back, because I think a lot of youngsters need to have activities, whether it is swings, running, whatever. But the local authority, so therefore the Lees Road and the Fair Green could be out of bounds for a lot of the teams for a while yet too.
Yeah, and I guess but that is the most satisfactory conclusion in your view, is it, to get the league finished?
I would think that the only well, okay, we'd all love to see the Avenue Newmarket. They have 2 games left, if I remember rightly. There's a home and away. One of the ones is supposed to be that shortened game, but what the hell, play a full game. But both of those are the top. They're the 2 big teams in the county. They have the facilities. They have, and let's decide the Premier League. Forget about the relegation. And then the first division title is resting, if I remember rightly, between the Avenue B, Newmarket B, maybe Lifford are involved as well in that. So therefore, promotion, relegation isn't really a big issue because the B teams can't be promoted anyway.
Yeah, I suppose you're going to be running into the same old difficulties as well, aren't you? Because people are kind of forgetting that the weather is not too kind in October and November, so there's probably going to be a lot of pressure on.
Well, it will put pressure on, and I mean, as you said, there will be the competition from other sports all the time. Everybody is trying to get up and running because, I mean, the emphasis, Derek, is that players want to play, and that is really the key. The other people that we need to involve here, I think, and in all sports, is the referees. And I don't know whether anybody has asked the referees what they think. Now, I did speak to a referee here in Clare, and he said they would be quite happy, he feels, to restart, or this man would, and some of his other colleagues that he has spoken to, but they would be wearing masks and wet gloves, and maybe there would be a number of protocols that would be implemented with regard to referees as well.
That is Jim Madden there, finishing up this week's edition of the Clare Champion Sports Chat podcast. Loads more in the paper for you to read as well and enjoy this week. I'll talk to you again